Here's how to change the automatic transmission fluid, filter, and gasket on a Camry with a V6 engine. The next step is to drain the transmission fluid. This is the pan on the driver's side of the vehicle. I'm using a 10mm hex socket to release the bolt. Once most of the transmission fluid has been drained out, we need to drop the transmission pan. To do that, we need to remove 17 10mm bolts that go around the perimeter of the pan. Okay, here we've got all 17 of the 10mm bolts removed from the transmission pan. So now we just have to pry it off. So here we've got the transmission pan removed, and this is the filter that we need to remove and change. So there's 3 10mm bolts that hold it on, 2 up front here and then 1 at the back here. Just need to release this wire, and that's the transmission filter. Here's what the valve body looks like. I'm just going to leave that to drain. And these are the 3 10mm bolts that I took off to get the filter off. Here's the old transmission filter, and this is the new one. They look exactly the same. Here I've got the transmission pan. You've got to take note of where the magnets are located. So when you clean them, you can put them back in the same exact location. I'm going to start peeling back this gasket here and remove it from the transmission pan. I'm just going to use a little bit of engine degreaser to clean up the crap off the bottom of the transmission pan. I'm using a little bit of brake cleaner along with a screwdriver and a rag to scrape off some of the excess gasket material that's on the surface. Now that the transmission pan is all cleaned up, I'm just going to go over it quickly with some brake fluid and a paper towel to give it one last wipe. And I'm going to replace the new gasket here and line it up. I'm going to use a paper towel and a little bit of brake cleaner to clean up the gasket surface on the transmission. I'm going to replace the new transmission filter. First put in this clip for the wire. Install it like that. And replace the 3 10mm bolts. Okay, gasket's installed on the pan. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the pan on the transmission and replace the bolts. Okay, I've caught all 17 bolts and snugged them up by hand. So the last step is to tighten these down to 69 inch-pound-feet of torque. Finally, I'm going to torque the drain bolt down to 36 foot-pounds of torque. I'm using some Castrol ATF that's rated for Dextron 3. I'm going to put a funnel into the transmission dipstick hole. I've put in about 3 liters of ATF, which is about what came out from the bottom. Next we're going to start the vehicle and run through all of the gears. With the vehicle in park, we're going to check the transmission fluid to make sure it's between the cool and hot levels. depending on the temperature of the transmission. Take the vehicle for a test drive and make sure it shifts through all the gears smoothly. Double check the automatic transmission fluid to make sure it's between the two hot marks here. Finally, we're going to double check that the drain bolt and the pan gasket is not leaking.